Well, we just finished up today with school. Got a late start today, so we just getting finished. And I thought I'd get on here. I haven't been on for a while. By the way, if you're just joining, Patrick with Joys of Carter Life. The fun we have in this, I'll tell you. Well, I have decided to write that book. I have not found my grandmother's letters, as I said before. So I'm starting the book, but I thought it's been a while since I've been on, so I thought I'd just tell one of the stories and I'm going to put in the book. It's funny now, but when it happened, it definitely was not funny at all. At the time, my grandmother, my wonderful grandmother, she made sure I was on the straight and narrow. Well, my grandmother was shorter, okay, and a little on the heavier side, but it's funny how anyhow, she had 9 children and she kept everyone, tried to keep everyone in going the right way and everything. But anyhow, back to my story. I was home from college for the summer, and Sunday nights after church, we would go to one of the young couples' houses for snacks and fellowship and things like that. So my grandmother and me always drove separate cars to church on Sunday night. Never knew that was going to become a thing when I got married. But anyhow, so see, even since then, I've always driven 2 cars. Okay, well, anyhow, back to the story. So we both drove cars. At the time, I had this Ford Mercury, and my grandmother had, at the time, Pontiac's Sunfire. I had a Pontiac Sunfire. My grandmother had a little Chevy, maybe, station wagon. And for some of you younger viewers, that was where you had 4 doors and a nice long back. And that's where people would put things and all that kind of stuff. But that was when they had station wagons. Now they have SUVs. But works kind of in the same way. But anyhow, we were there at church, and it was time to go, and we went to leave, and this storm just hit out of nowhere. The rain just came smashing down, and thunder, lightning, and the rain was coming down real fast, and I had already started out. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm not going on this trip, going over to our friend's house. Well, I started driving, and I mean, places were flooding left and right. And this is in Pennsylvania, so this is highly unusual for our area at the time. Well, the one way that I take to get to my grandmother's house was a 2-lane highway, 1 lane going up, 1 lane going down the other way, and it was flooded, closed off. Okay, so I took another way all the way around. It took me a while, but I finally got into the mobile home park that they lived in, and they lived up on top of the hill. So I managed to get my car up into the driveway at the house, and I didn't see my grandmother's car. And I thought, that's strange. But I went to go inside, and my uncle came out, and he was absolutely furious at me. And here, my grandmother had not made it home yet. And we are just all, I feel really bad because I drove to church myself, which we always do, but I should have stayed and brought my grandmother home. But I didn't. I'm sitting there, I'm all worried and I'm all nervous. The lady had 9 children. I should know better, right? Well, I'm sitting there. I am a nervous wreck. My uncle's really upset. I'm thinking he's going to kill me if something's happened to her. But I thought, she'll be okay. Prayed. And next thing we know, my uncle's going down over the hill and he drives up the car. Gets in the car. My grandmother drove it the rest of the way up the hill and parked it. And she got out of the car. She was a little shaken, but who wouldn't be in that situation? And we were sitting there, and she was a wreck. Not a wreck. I should take that back. You know how it is when you go through something that's very stressful, dangerous, and afterwards you just need that few minutes to sit and relax. Well, that was her. And we were sitting there, and I said to her, Graham, how'd you get home? Because I knew that after I got done, that the road I was on was closed. So there was no way you could get to the house. So everything was flooded. And I thought, how in the world did she get here? And I said, Graham, how'd you get here? The normal way. I'm like, Graham, that road was closed off. She said, I know. I'm like, so how'd you get home? She said, I'll never forget it. She said, I went around the cones, around the barrier. I said, around the barriers? I said, well, what'd you do? That was all flooded. I was going to take that way, and I didn't because it was flooded and they were closing it up. And I said, well, how'd you get through all that? Because I know it had to be halfway up her doors, or, up to the doors at least. And she said, well, I prayed, turned the radio up full blast, and I hit the gas. I'm like, oh, okay. I said, was there any rocks or anything? Because the road was in really bad shape. And she said, well, I don't know. I just focused on the music and kept on driving. I didn't stop. She says, I heard some bumps, felt some bumps along the way. And I thought, I bet you she did, because that was flooded. And I think, oh, how God protected her. And to this day, every time I drive through a storm, I think of that. Just putting up the radio full blast and hit the gas. And, but, it all worked out. We were both home safe and sound. And now Grandma's station wagon had a little bit of, marks on it. But hey, she made it home okay. Like she rubbed up against something, the bumper or whatever, nothing to take to the shop or even report or anything. So, but she made it home. It was a good service. We were both home and enjoyed the evening. Mind you, by the time we were both home, it had stopped raining, the way it always works, right? So, well, that is one story that will be in my book if I ever get down to writing it. But that is one of the stories. So, okay, well, I'm going to go for now, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye. And once again, here I am. I forgot to say in the last video, so I'm going to add it here at the end. If you like these videos, please hit the like and subscribe. That helps us out to keep these going. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.